Welcome back, learners. Today we are discussing about the quality of supply and services. In the first session we discussed about the performance benchmarking. In the second session we discussed about key performance indicators. That discussion will continue in this session also. Now I would like to request Mr. Goyal to continue the discussion on key performance indicators.
Thank you. I would once again request, because it is the last session and I have not received any of the queries, I would love to listen from you. What do you feel, and if you have any query, any suggestion rather, if not query, then we will definitely discuss on that. And now we have the limited time, so once again I would request all of you to make this session, last session, as interactive as possible. With that I am continuing. For this first stage KPI implementation, we have covered few of them like reliability, human resources, etc. Now we are covering capacity building. For DISCOM's perspective, capacity building is very important. Now, because now the assets are depleted, so the utility has to maintain not only the existing assets, they have to also do the replacement of the old aged assets, and they have to also provide new assets to meet the new load requirement. So for DISCOMs it is a dual task to manage the day-to-day operations and to manage the explosive growth. For that purpose, DISCOMs require additional capabilities. These additional capabilities, as I already told you, may be the creation of assets, performance improvement, or human resources skill updation. In this section particularly of capacity building, we will focus only on human resources. What is the importance of human resources and how we can measure the skill upgradation aspects. For this capacity building, there are two main features. One is business function, second one is training plan and calendar. Training plan and calendar we have discussed earlier. Now I would like to throw some light on business function aspect. Consumer is the fulcrum for today's business, every business, even utility also. So the customer requires the service. Customer does not know what is the department of the utility, what are the roles and responsibility of any individual, internal processes, impediments, etc. within the company. What he requires, what he wants is superior quality service, superior product, in the sense reliable power supply at a low cost. So what is the requirement from the utility, from the DISCOM point of view, to meet these ever growing challenges? They need to create cross-functional team which are arising above the cage of traditional thinking and produce versatile managers conversant with different functions and ready to take extra burden. So the learning which is there, which is provided to them in their academic career or by virtue of doing simply their job as described in their JD, job description form, is not sufficient. They are not going to become versatile by having simply those skills. So this new requirement, new skills are to be created and developed by imparting the training. For that purpose, the organization should have the training plan and calendar, and without proper plan, as we all know, no activity is going to be successful. There are few capacity building proposed KPIs. The measurement is simple. It is for all these planned versus actual, and representative standard may be 100% or like that. The KPIs may be percentage of employee having attended electricity distribution business, say operation engineering aspect related training, commercial finance aspect related training, management aspect related training, and there may be another training. These all the above three mentioned training may be internally arranged. There may be some other training which are either internal or external, and we have to have some kind of percentage of employees having attended other trainings. Other trainings may be, say, a kind of seminar for new product or exchange program, whatever it is. For this purpose, the representative standard is 5%. With that, we have come to the end of first stage KPIs which we have decided. Now we will go ahead on the second stage KPIs. I would like to give 10 minutes exclusively at the end of this session, say from 7:35 to 7:45 for question answers. So I would try to finish my subject, my topic of KPIs by 7:35 say. For second stage KPI implementations, we have again divided into several categories. First one is commercial quality standards. Commercial transactions between a company and a customer may be classified as follows. These are connection to the network, it is time frame related, price associated with the supply, it is tariff schedule, customer query response, turnaround time to pick up the phone call, because if the phone is ringing and nobody is picking the phone, it is a very irritating for customer. So we should have also some kind of turnaround time. Say within 3 ring, someone is going to pick up the phone and answer the customer queries. Meter reading is another commercial quality aspect. Accuracy of estimated bills. We all know that all the bills cannot be produced according to the latest meter reading. There are cases of locked premises, meter burnt out. So the estimation has to be done and it should be as accurate as possible. Accuracy and timeliness of actual bills is another aspect. Then meter testing. It is very important, and many times consumer becomes aggravated and they even go to court if it is not done properly and they are not satisfied with the functioning of the meter. Billing anomaly reduction and rectification is another commercial quality aspects, and payment arrangement. Keeping all these things in mind, we can clearly see that all these standards are nothing but provide a kind of relationship between a supplier and a user. The associated KPIs for these commercial quality standards can be defined as they are available on your screen. Number or actual meter reading within a year. The unit of measurement may be percentage and measures may be planned versus actual. Representative standard, 99% of meters will be read at least 6 times each year on bi-monthly billing cycle, irrespective of burnout cases, meter premises locked cases, meter not functioning, access denied, whatever it is. So we have to, in some of the cases, revisit again to really read the meters. Again, from the regulator side, it is now imperative by the utility to read the meters, and there should not be any estimated bill after 2 billing cycles. Cutoff at consumer's request. Again, UOM is percentage, number of cutoffs executed within 10 working days, total cutoff requested received. Cutoff means consumer is asking to cut off the supply, as they may be moving out to another city, so they require permanent disconnection. Representative standard is 99% compliance within 10 working days, because the stipulated time here is 10 working days. Voltage complaints. Number of complaints attended to within 10 working days divided by total voltage complaints received. So say 99% compliance within 10 working days. Ideal situation is there should not be any voltage complaint. Outage response time. The measures is number of complaints attended to within say 8 hours in rural areas or 2 hours within urban areas is to total complaints received in that segment. Representative standard 99% compliant. For 99% of the cases, the number of complaints should be resolved, attended to within 8 hours. Estimating charges. Number of estimates provided subsequent to inspection within 7 working days divided by total estimates request receipts. Here 7 working days. Earlier we were talking about providing a new service connection within 3 working days. So one may have the question why it is 7 working days. These 7 working days are for the high category consumers. High category means high voltage, which are opting supplies say at 11 kV or 33 kV, where network extension is required and you are not able to readily provide the service. Wherever you are able to readily provide the service, you have the network, you have the infrastructure, then the time limit is 3 days. So again the representative standard is 99% compliant. Meter problem response time. Consumer has given you a complaint that there is some problem in the meter and he wants to get the meter tested, and you have the standard of 15 days, 15 working days. So accordingly the measures can be calculated. You can see on your screen what is the formula, and the representative standard is 99%. Consumer interaction and service standards. It is the key words here are again highlighted. These are customer, internal business processes, change management. So these KPIs deals with all these. Again the moot point here remains is predefined standards. Unless and until you define something, you adopt the methodology to measure, you cannot improve. And you have to monitor not only the outcome but the quality also. You have provided, restored the service, you restored the supply within 8 working hours in rural area, but the quality of supply is to such a poor extent that after again 24 hours or 48 hours you are going to get the same complaint from the same site. It is definitely not desired. So you have to also monitor the quality of supply. So all these indicators give insight about the customer satisfaction level. Here what we are saying is all are interrelated. Ultimate aim is to provide the satisfaction to the customer, and all are interrelated. If you are restoring the supply within the stipulated time but you are not doing the quality work, then obviously customer is not satisfied, and unnecessarily you are enhancing the burden on yourself. The representative standards, the representative or proposed KPIs for this particular segment are queries on charges and payments, reconnection after disconnection for non-payment, maximum waiting time in a customer service center, time to answer customer service telephone, notice of supply interruption, response to customer letters. So measures number of occurrence for queries on charges and payments, representative standard within 10 working days, like that. And I feel that these measures are already available on your screen, and if you have any query, any doubt how to calculate, then please feel free to ask. The representative standard for second one, reconnection after disconnection, is 100% compliance by 5 PM the day following payment. Maximum waiting time in a customer service center, 90% of customers served within 30 minutes. So customer come for any query. Ideal situation that customer should not come at all. Customer should not have any query, but still, like banking sector is very advanced. If you go to any of the private bank, ICICI Bank, though they provide all kind of avenues through internet banking, through telebanking, but still customer visit there. The key here is that the waiting time for a customer should be minimum. The representative standard here is 30 minutes. We should have 90% compliant. Time to answer customer service telephone, say representative standard is say 75% within 60 seconds. If any customer has given any call, then within 60 seconds we should not only pick up the phone but try to resolve try to answer the query. Notice of supply interruptions, minimum 24 hours before planned interruption. Because for any industrial consumers, if it is say within 24 hours, then they may be required to plan their activities accordingly. If it is prior to 24 hours, they have sufficient time, they may arrange something, whatever they require for their production line. Response to customer letters, it is planned versus actual is the measure, and 100% within 10 days. No letter from the customer should be in the utilities premises without any reply. Now we come to another quality standards, that is voltage quality standards. Voltage quality or power quality, it is an umbrella concept for a variety of disturbances in the power sector. Though the quality of delivered electricity is difficult to define and quantify, but it carries a perceptive value, and it is a phenomena which is occurring. It is not definable because of the technology not availing, because of the high cost of technology, whatever is the reason, but the end result is customer is not satisfied. So in practice, what we see that most relevant power systems voltage quality phenomena are following. These are frequency variations, fluctuations of voltage magnitude. If it is say 230, then sometimes it is for domestic consumer, it is going to 240, another second 220, then 250, something like that. So no fluctuation should be there. Short duration voltage variations, dips, swells, and short interruptions. If there is a fault, heavy fault upstream in the system of another feeder, then there may be a short duration voltage variations in another feeder, but it happens only when the earthing system is not proper, the system is not properly designed. So again, it is a controllable factor, and we should have one KPI in this regard as well. Similarly, long duration voltage variation over or under voltages, it is mainly because of the network inadequacy. Over voltage, it happens for the consumers who are near to the source of supply. Under voltage, who are at the tail end, fag end of the network. Transient, temporary transient over voltages, then unbalanced interruptions. These are the voltage quality standards. Voltage quality standards carry importance. They are having a lot of importance. There are few industries who are very particular about the quality of voltage particularly. They have microprocessor based motors installed to run their machines, and they are very sensitive towards the frequency variation, towards the voltage variations. So they don't require any kind of variation at all. So voltage standards or voltage supply of voltage parameters are getting day by day more and more importance. It is a perception in the eyes of the customer, and basically from the newer technologies which are there. So here we can see, as it is appearing on your screen, the importance of voltage quality. It has a growing economic impact on the customer and the network operators. Associated with the lack of quality can be large, especially for industrial consumers, as we have discussed. Voltage quality is considered at the customer's connection point and closely related with customer's equipment. Some important examples are: customer equipment contains more microprocessor controls and power electronic device which can be sensitive to variations in voltage quality, as I have given you the example of motor. The growing importance of higher energy efficiency has led to an increase in the number of adjustable motor drives and shunt capacitors which generate harmonics on the power system. Customer wants to save on the electricity charges, so they are having newer technologies are applicable. They require that their motor should run at a predefined speed for any particular process for a predefined interval. For that purpose, they are having speed controllers. They are having to have the proper power factor to reduce the electricity consumption capacitors. All these are good, but they are also injecting harmonics into the system. Harmonics in turn distort the waveform, sinusoidal waveform. So the voltage quality is distorted. Processes and equipment have become more interconnected and interrelated, which can make them more vulnerable to failure of one component because of the interlinking. This is the era of integration. We all know it is happening everywhere. Customers are becoming more aware about the issue of voltage quality and becoming more demanding in that aspect. Voltage quality becomes an issue for the regulator. However, the financial consequences of solving voltage quality problems affect the economic position of the network operator. Financial consequences are very large. Any consumer may suit the network operator or here the DISCOM on this. Similarly, if you want to improve the voltage of the tail end of the consumer, then you may have to require to incur additional capital expenditure. These capital expenditures are going to be approved by the regulator. So it all interrelated issues, and in fact it is an issue for regulator also. That's why they are prescribing to have sufficient network, and network should also have the redundancy in the system. These are the voltage quality standards which are proposed and which are appearing on your screen. These representative standards are for low voltage as well as for medium voltage. You may also have the representative standards for high voltage as well. The KPI here is frequency, magnitude, voltage, fluctuations of voltage magnitude, voltage unbalance. The frequency is 49.5 to 50.5 Hertz, 99.5% of the year, but it is not happening. It is not possible in today's scenario because we are short of approximately 15 to 20% of generating capacity. So in peak season, particularly winter peak and summer peak, and on northern grid particularly, this imposes a lot of pressure. That's why we are not able to match this. But it is representative standard to begin with. We may have the higher bandwidth of say 47 to 50 Hertz, and it may be for all year. Magnitude, it is plus minus 10% or plus 10% to minus 15%. In fact, this magnitude is defined in Indian Electricity Rules 1956. If I remember correctly, it is rule number 54, where it defines that for low voltage, the voltage variation should not be more than plus minus 6%. For medium and high voltage, it should not be plus 6% and minus 9% and like that. Fluctuations of voltage magnitude plus 5% up to plus 10% sometimes per day flicker. Flicker is again a very costly device, and it is not implemented anywhere. Under drum we have suggested installation of voltage flicker, and it is in fact at present at the tender stage, so I cannot really now elaborate on the benefits which it may bring, but definitely in the near future we may see. Voltage unbalance. Voltage unbalance means voltage in one phase with respect to the other phase, or phase voltage to neutral voltage of one phase, and similarly for other phase. So it should not be more than 2% plus minus, or 3% in some cases, and the voltage should be constant for say 100% of the time, and at least for representative standard purpose we may have 95%. Voltage dip. The representative standard here is up to a few tens to up to 1000. What does it mean? Voltage dip means depending upon the network, say for rural area where the network is not available, where you are not providing 24 hours of supply, you may have voltage dip occurrences for more than 10 times, but it should not be very large. If for urban area where you have the adequate infrastructure, adequate network, it is say up to 10, few tens, or say 10. Then in for the same area, for rural category of consumers, it should not be more than 30. We have to keep all these things, all these parameters in mind. Short interruptions. up to a few tens to up to a few hundred. Short interruptions, as we have defined previously, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. 20 minutes if it is short interruptions, then it should not be more than few tens to few hundred. Long interruptions. Long interruptions should be minimum as possible. The number of long interruptions should not be more than say 50 in a year, and we may have interruptions of 20 minutes, we can say, as long interruptions, though here it is mentioned 3 minutes, but we may treat this figure as 20 minutes. Now comes the most important parameters, most important standards. These are finance and accounting standards. Because the company should be bankable, if you have to enhance the capacity, build the assets, you require the loan. So bankability is the main issue, and every business is earn some profit. The key underline here is the maintain for the utility. The key task here is to maintain the finances effectively and to meet the future requirement. Besides earning the profit at reasonable rate, for that all what the utility require to incur the cost effectively and prudently. We have talked about the O&M expenses, operation and maintenance expenses, and the representative standard for that was 10 paisa per unit. From where this will come if we are incurring the cost prudently. These standards should also provide the trigger whenever any cost is going out of gear beyond the prescribed level. Generally, financial standards or accounting standards are expressed in ratios or expenses per unit of output. For DISCOM, the output is unit, that is electricity unit or kWh. Finance and accounting, few proposed KPIs. Debt equity ratio, it is a measure is ratio, representative standard is 2:1. Any promoter, any utility should have the equity of say ₹1, then the debt it should have ₹2. It should not be that the equity is ₹1 and the debt is ₹10. Then all the earning will go into repaying the loan amount. Collection billing ratio, total collection amount is total billed amount. The representative standard here is 98%. The UOM is percentage. Days outstanding, it is expressed in days and measure is time or number of days. Representative standard is 55 days for monthly billing cycle. If the billing cycle is bi-monthly, obviously you are going to generate the bill after taking the meter reading at an interval of 60 days, and then you also require some time to prepare the bill, say 7 to 10 days time, and you have to give some time to consumer also to make the payment. So as prescribed by regulator in many of the states, it is 15 days time. So 60 plus 10 plus 15, it comes like that. Similarly, if you add 30 plus 10 plus 15, it is 55. For bi-monthly billing, it will be 85 days. But if you are having bi-monthly billing, then obviously you are locking your money and you require the working capital for the same. Working capital comes at a cost. Present prevailing rate of interest is 12%, something like that, which bank lend to any of the company. So working capital, if we are talking, then it is also important to manage the inventory. Inventory is very integral part of the working capital, and inventory should be as minimum as possible. Though we understand particularly for utility, just-in-time concept is not practically feasible at present, but still we may have some kind of integration, say one division with respect to another division. We all know that transformer failure, higher capacity transformer failure, if it is failing, it is not going to fail by the law of the probability at two locations at the same point of time. So we can manage inventory like that and reduce the working capital burden. But for the continuous cash flow, we require this days outstanding to be minimum. Fourth KPI in this direction is operating expenses is to energy. We have already discussed about this, and representative standard for this is 10 paisa per unit. Now this is the last aspects, last standards, last KPI for secondary stage implementations, which we are going to discuss for today's session. These are human resource standards. The responsibility of the management and the objective of any organization to have an organization which is lean, which is efficient, which is customer friendly, which is striving hard to provide better services to the customer, and which is capable to fulfill the diverse need of all the stakeholders. All the stakeholders, again I am repeating, are promoter or investors, consumers, employees, regulators, government, or any other person. But mainly these four are there: government and regulator, investor or promoter, employee and customer. The productivity should be measured with respect to each employee. Again, the underlying aspect here is each employee. So we have to treat each employee as a human, and employee should also take care that company is providing me the bread and butter, it is my livelihood, and above all it is my responsibility, moral duty to fulfill, to comply with all of my job requirements. But we all know practically what is there. Personally, what I feel that every individual has every kind of potential to perform the given task, but proper input should be inculcated into that individual, provided to that individual. Again, here we see that it is how it is possible. It is through benchmark, and it should be benchmarked with respect to past performance and with the industry best. These human resource standards. There are four proposed KPIs for this human resources. First one is total staff to total customers. It is UM is percentage, planned versus actual, representative standard is 99%. 99% of what? 99% whatever you have planned. So I should have one staff per 100 customers. So 99% time it should be complied with. Also the emphasis here or focus here should be to have a lean organization. Second comes, organization is nothing but it is having different functions. Functions are comprising of different processes. One function is billing function. So we have to see really to each functions. Billing functions, here how we can measure it. Billing staff is to total customers. Again it is representative standard is 99%. In the billing department, if it is say 1 or 10 staff per 1000 total 10 staff per 1000 customers, or 1 staff per 100 customers, which we have talked earlier, then the billing staff may be 1 or 2 per 1000 of customers, like that. So you have to really see it in work breakdown structure manner, breaking down all these activities into different work breakdown structures, and then assign so that you can have the total figure of 10 at the upper level. Now comes the maintenance staff total customers. It is again planned versus actual, but here the care has to be taken so that all the previously defined KPIs as the first stage implementation, say maintenance staff is having direct bearing on the SAFE aspects. This billing staff, it is also having direct bearing on say ATC losses, no correct billing, no collection, higher ATC losses. Customer service staff total customers. Similarly we can define n number of other KPIs. So KPIs is what we are seeing here is an endless list. We have defined here KPIs as first stage, second stage, there may be subsequent stages as well, and there is no hard and fast rule. You have to see your present state of affairs, present local conditions, geographical conditions, your resources, your target, and then decide the KPIs. But please take utmost care while deciding and defining the KPIs to avoid any untoward incident at a later date, to avoid the infructuous cost, to have all the parameters, all the business processes running in a synchronous manner. With that, I end my session for today here, and I request to please ask whatever you want to ask, so that through these interactions I will definitely is going to have some learning opportunities as well.
Thank you, Mr. Goyal.
It's my pleasure.
Till we receive any call from our video conferencing centers from the learners, we can have and explaining some important features regarding this KPI. In the meantime, you can just brush up some 2-3 important points till any query or question comes from our learners.
For this KPIs, the main features are associated with individual KPIs, as we have seen for supply reliability and indices. There are features like duration of interruptions, frequency of interruptions. Similarly, for collection efficiency aspects or ATC loss, we have seen the features of having the healthy metering system, providing proper collection channels. So here what we have to see, we have to here see that what the customer needs are, what the customer wants. Customer wants.
Yeah, we can take the call. Please, Rajkot, please speak. Yes, Rajkot, please speak.
For ACPDM program, here 4 students have been attended this program since long time, and they want to ask some question in this regard.
Okay.
Just I am transferring the call to them. Just a minute.
Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, sir. I am Lakhani from Rajkot Center.
Yes.
Sir, is there any provision after how many years we should replace the meter of the consumer? Mandatory provision is there.
If I got you correctly, you are asking, sir, after
for the testing or any provision for within how many years we must test it, and for replacement. For 2 questions, sir.
Yeah, for testing.
Over, sir.
For testing, there is a provision in the Indian electricity rules as well. Rule number 57 clearly specifies the testing. According to that, if the meter is at high tension level, say 11 kV and 33 kV level, then the meter has to be tested along with the associated metering apparatus. Metering apparatus includes CT, PT also, in a span of 1 year. It means those meters have to be tested on yearly basis. If the meter is LT meter, LT-CT operated meters, then those meters need to be tested once in 3 years period. Here the testing includes the testing of CT also. If it is whole current meters, whether it is single phase or 3 phase, then the testing has to be done once in a 5-year period. It is stipulated in the Indian electricity rules. However, few of the regulators have even asking to increase this frequency. High tension also they have segregated. If the load is say more than 10 megawatt of any particular consumers, then the meter has to be tested once in 6 months period. So if we at the national level, the guiding factor is Indian electricity rules, and in many states, say almost 90% of the states, still this is the compelling factor. For remaining 10% of the state, whatever regulator has prescribed in terms of distribution code prevailing in that particular state, we have to adopt that particular frequency. Coming to your second question, replacement of meter. Meter can be replaced by having different scenarios. If it is a kind of technological upgradation. Earlier it was only electromechanical meter, now static meter has come. Regulator is also providing emphasis that we should have the static meters because of better quality and checking or balancing mechanism inbuilt in those. Everything, every asset, whether it is meter, pole, whatever it is, it cannot be replaced unless it has served its useful life. For meter, generally the useful life is varying from 15 years to 20 years, electromechanical to static meters. So we have to keep that particular factor in mind. And here the question comes, when you are purchasing the meter or any particular item, what is the life that is going to be prescribed by the vendor from which you are purchasing the meter, say. So you have to keep that particular life in consideration and put that particular life in years in your database, so that at the right appropriate time your software or your system is providing you the signal to go for replacement of meter.
So, thank you, Mr. Goel.
Thank you.
Do we have any other call waiting? I think we are not having any other call waiting, so we may continue to discuss some important features of this key performance indicators till we receive any further call. And now at this point of time, I would like to request the regional centers and other video conferencing centers please give the feedback regarding the attendance, and if there are students, then I would like to request the students that they may ask their queries. We are having still 3-4 minutes left, so they can ask their questions within this period. So you were discussing, Mr. Goel, you were discussing about that human resources, these indicators. So you can elaborate more about these within our 2-3 minutes we are left with. So you can elaborate on these points.
Here the human resources indicators which are provided on the last slide which we have showed. It is from the efficiency point of view of the human resources which utility or DISCOM is having. But to get out that kind of efficiency, we should have the processes in place, we should have the best practices. So by the end of the session tomorrow, what you are going to see that this benchmarking, then KPI, and then performance measurement, all are interlinked. I would like to show you one slide where you can see.
In the meantime, I would like to inform our students that tomorrow also we are having the session on the quality of supply and services. Yeah, Delhi, please speak. Yes, please speak, Delhi.
I am R.K. Dhiman from Delhi Center.
Yeah, please
Yes,
speak.
please.
You have mentioned data regarding billing staff oblique customers, that is standard is 99%.
Yes.
What is the ratio of billing staff as well as the customer numbers? Second question is that you are saying that the testing of single phase meter is for 10 years onwards. Then why the assessment bill is raised to consumer when your testing period is 10 years? Thank you.
Dhiman Sahab, if you are on the line, then please I would like to know. I think the call is disconnected. If you can again ring me and just tell me that how many learners are there with you, Dhiman Sahab. So you may answer the query.
The first query is 99%. How it is possible? Here you please see the measures. The measure is planned versus actual. I am not saying you should have the compliances or you should have this billing staff for 99%. Suppose you have decided to have 5 billing staff per 1000 customers, then it is your planned. In actual, you should have that figure complied with 99% of the time. And this is the answer for first query. The second query was related to meter testing and assessment, bill assessment. Meter testing for single phase meter is for 5 years period. So, suppose you have purchased a new meter, you have installed that meter, then after 5 years you have to do the testing. Now it is as prescribed. Now the second testing comes on behest of the customer. Customer is dissatisfied, he has requested for meter testing. So you cannot wait for 5 years. This 5-year period compulsion is from the utilities perspective.
I think Mr. Dhiman must have got his answer. So we come to end of this session. Thank you, Mr. Goel, for the nice presentations and the discussions.
Thank you.
We will meet tomorrow at 9 a.m. for the continuation of this topic. Thank you.